right, everybody, welcome to another Lightning Strikes Twice, the super condensed lightning round. Well, semi condensed lightning round that we do with only two topics, one each, and there's 5 minutes to talk about it. So, I think,
Indeed,
Casey, I think you're first, so I have the timer ready if you want to go.
I do indeed wholeheartedly concur, incur, recur, concur.
Oh man! All right, so
Lots of curs. Okay,
take it away.
so I have a little philosophical question to pose. I was thinking about the early days of the space missions and whatnot in the space race, and is sending someone knowingly on a one-way mission suicide? Is it
Ooh,
like like classic suicide?
well, I mean, I suppose it depends, right? Like, say you're sending people to a Mars mission and they're setting up a habitat there. I don't know that they would necessarily die, like, because it may be that it is a one-way trip. You can't come back when you lived on Mars for like 10 years or something.
Right, right.
Um, and
Actually, that was part of the conversation that made me think about it too. There are people signing on to go live out the rest of their days on Mars, and it's like, I mean, we all die. Eventually, they will die. It's like,
Mhm.
is it really like in the back of your head? There's kind of this feeling that leaving home and knowing you'll never return and die there with your family and friends and blah 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 feels a little bit like signing your own death warrant, right? Like
Kinda, yeah. I think it's probably a little less so than, say, a military mission where you're not coming back, but you're doing it for king and
kamikaze.
country, or yeah, kamikaze missions
Yeah.
and things. Um, Wearing a bomb vest or something, going in knowing
Mm-hmm.
that you're not coming back.
Yeah, that's a
That's
little more cut and
definitely,
dry, but
yeah.
uh,
But say something where there's extreme risks to your life. Uh,
mhm.
I think, well, yeah. I mean, in a way, it could be considered like a suicidal thing, but I guess it's like if it has a particular purpose greater than just the existence of your life, like the scientific discovery, say.
Sure, yeah. But I mean, who's to say that uh, this is going to piss a lot of people off? But who's to say that your regular average person committing suicide doesn't, in a weird way, have some profound positive effect on someone else?
I guess suppose it could. It really depends. I think.
Like,
Um,
like I don't know. My friend Jeff killed himself when we were 19, and there was a lot of things that I started to, I don't know, kind of look at differently,
mhm.
that I feel like was a huge positive change for me.
Yeah.
It's one of those things like, oh, I don't want to go down that road. Maybe I should, start changing a few things or something.
Well, and certainly it gives you a better sense of the value of life.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't think it should necessarily take ending a life to do that, but it does.
No.
There are always positive sides to,
More of a
like,
retroactive sort of uh, euphemization, I guess you might
mhm.
say.
Well, and there
Um,
could be a situation, say, like, with you're on a lifeboat in the middle of the ocean. There's two people, right? And you only have so much like food and water
I'm
available.
going
And
out for a walk. I
yeah,
may be some time.
exactly. Like, you sacrifice yourself so that that other person has a better chance of staying alive. That I think is kind of like, I guess you could consider it like noble in a
Hmm.
way. Because I mean, like in that case, it's kind of like, well, we're gonna die anyway. Maybe give this person a better chance, or somebody does that for you, right? Like, well, we have enough food and water to last like maybe a week or something, but it could be 2 weeks with only one person, and that might be the thing that allows for you to be found and rescued.
Right.
So that but as far as space missions go, I mean, kinda. It might even be like, I guess you could say it would be like suicide of your genetics, essentially. Like,
Yeah.
even if you don't directly die as a result of going on, like, say, a Mars mission, you're taking that your genetics out of Earth. If it never come back, that could be seen. I guess that would
Yeah.
be an interesting way to put it.
Yeah. But if the mission is successful and they're able to start, you know, populating Mars, you're actually kind of contributing
Mm.
to the gene pool in a very profound way.
It's like a rebirth,
Yeah.
basically, in a way
So
that it would never occur on Earth.
hmm.
So that's kind of interesting. Hmm.
Yeah. But I mean, like, there's just so much danger and unknown variables that it kind of makes you think like there's bound to be like some
That's time.
uh,
There's bound to be what? You can finish your sentence at least.
just bound to be some unfortunate losses, I think.
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
think so. That's a good topic there. I like that
Yeah.
one. So I guess we'll go on to me then. And okay, so mine's kind of a sciency, I guess, sort of more of a question than any.
Science.
Yeah. Um, so okay, growing up and stuff, well, or and all the time, but I remember that there was always, you read in books on biology or science or whatever about animals and how they see, like, oh, they see, cats seeing like basically black and white or something, it's like shades of gray, or cows seeing like just brown and stuff. And like, okay, so my question is, do animals in fact see in full color like we do?
Huh.
Because the thing is, like, your color perception happens in your brain, not your eye. And we can't dig into an animal's brain and see, like, how does their brain interpret that information?
Oh, that's a good point. Um, yeah, this is a great question, uh, especially since I'm a biologist and I worked in an I can still never say this word, ophthalmological laboratory. Um, it's a strange word.
Mm.
Uh, yeah, I mean, I've never heard about cows having a brown eye. I mean, I know they have a brown eye, but
Well, I think
uh,
it was like they're like, what's it called, dichromic or something. Like, they only see like two
yeah.
colors basically, but or respond to it or whatever.
So
But it's
so
like,
we know what wavelengths are capable of being detected by animals because it's rods and cones, and there's
yeah.
certain opsins that are absent or present. And
Mhm.
humans certainly don't have the full gamut. Like bees have way more, birds have more.
Yep. Bees see a lot more UV than humans do, although humans do detect a little bit of it.
Yeah, and given that, like, as a thought experiment, if you think about it, like, we don't, our brains don't fill in like what UV light should be looking like,
Mm.
right? Like, we know it exists and stuff.
Yeah.
We even know where it comes from, but we aren't like, well, I mean, maybe we are like sunbeams and stuff like that. I mean, it's really just like light being juxtaposed against a darker background, but
Yeah. Well, I
you
mean, it's
could
all
you could make
one
the
big.
argument that's the brain interpreting UV light or
Well,
something,
yeah, it's
right?
just a slice of the bit broader EM spectrum. But my question though is, like, the way we perceive color isn't necessarily the way it really is per se.
Mhm.
I'm wondering, like, say an animal that can only see basically grayscale, right? Their eyes can only detect light and not color.
Mhm.
Um, does their brain though still create color? When they perceive it, like,
I
the
doubt it.
different shades turn into different colors, because why do we do that?
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, cats and dogs do see color.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it's just a little different than ours. But um, our different interpretations of color actually have a lot to do with the differences in opsins. Men and women commonly argue over color, and that's because there tends to be one more opsin in women than men have.
And that
Um,
makes sense. Yeah.
and this conceptualization of what a color is called, all of that stuff is just stuff that we made up, right? But the ability to tell the difference between one color and another,
Yeah.
it doesn't really matter how that's being processed in the mind, as long as there's a way to like tell things apart, because that's
Yeah.
really all that matters in nature, right? Like
Oh yeah.
that
Well, or to make
color doesn't
something,
look like it belongs there, it might be danger,
well, and yeah, something that stands out against another color. So you have contrast essentially,
mm-hmm.
like things humans, like we can like differentiate. You see red and it's like, oh, that means it's probably dangerous, poisonous, or bright colors or something like that
Right.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which,
And I don't know, maybe color is kind of a detriment because uh, maybe it confuses a little bit too much. Like maybe there's just too much noise,
yeah,
too much input there, and maybe the reason that dogs and cats kind of evolved with less color is to just be better hunters.
that would make sense. Yeah. Yeah. Eliminate the stuff that really doesn't matter and highlight the stuff that is more important.
Yeah, and
Which
then
this is a natural selection thing. Like obviously,
yeah,
if it makes them better hunters, then there's going to be more of them
yeah,
procreating, right?
and then the foragers that depend on color, like bees and birds and stuff, they can see like way more color.
Yeah,
Uh, you
that
know,
is kind of interesting.
evolution's a pretty cool thing.
It is.
Like I do love the question of like what is color, because you can't really answer that. Like,
Hmm.
you know,
It's one
to
of
me,
those like endless philosophical. Oh,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
time.
Yeah, I remember we had that discussion in my brain and behavior class,
Hmm.
and I was like, yeah, that's I've always wondered that too,
Yeah, interesting. This is a good one.
hmm hmm
Well, everybody, so yeah, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe and all that. And yeah, I guess that's it. See you on the flip side.
Sayonara. Just because of that.
Whoa. Oh, damn.